One of the great advantages of being a part of the network is that we have agents all around the country that are doing unique and new things in their businesses. Today I'm going to speak with Mario Mitchell out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Mario is pretty amazing, and I want you to hear some of the things he's doing to adapt his business in the new normal that he's finding in his market. All right, guys, today I'm super excited because I've got Mario Mitchell with the Mitchell team in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Mario, this is something that, we got together at convention, and with things changing and a lot of things going on, I really want us to revisit and kind of go through exactly what you're seeing in your market right now, because I think this is a critical time for us to really kind of give an opportunity to share kind of what are you doing at transition. But before we even get started with all that, why don't you give everybody a little history about yourself, how you got in the business, kind of what your team looks like right now?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Jimmy, for allowing us or catching up with me and getting back on the air with you, man. It's been awesome getting to know you through the past few months, especially. But yeah, to your question, I got in the business roughly about 17 years ago. At the time, I specialized in water therapy, working on the clinically obese, lower extremities. So I was really in the water all day, almost a form of personal training. But one of my clients, he was a realtor at the time, and I had no idea what that was, but he would always pay me in cash. And that's how I got into the business. He was like, "Hey, you should be a realtor." And I was like, well, I had no idea what that was. So I joke about that all the time with a lot of my staff and my friends. But that's how I got into the business. He's a Mike Ferry agent. I started literally calling out of a phone book in the dungeon with him day to day. As of right now, I've got 12 agents on my team. We are, our goals, which since the pivot, we're still focusing pretty strongly on the 60 million range is what we're looking for our team for 2020. And as far as like the Charlotte market, I guess, for me, what I focus on right now, what I'm looking at in our market versus maybe some of the others, and I put a post out in one of these social sites, and I just snapshotted my day at the end of the day, and it showed where we had 220 active listings that came on the market, and we had 114 of them go under contract, and then we had 97 of them sold in 24-hour period. And I sent it out there, and I asked people on this site just to share their snapshots. I was blown away at the amount of transactions that were in Alaska in that 24-hour period. And then again in Pittsburgh, where there was like nothing going on in Pittsburgh, in New York and New Jersey. And it was really interesting to see the dynamic difference in our USA of different markets. But for us, I mean, in the past 7 days, we've had 1,028 listings come on the market. We've had 882 of those go under contract. And then we've had 1,094 close in the last 7 days, just in Charlotte alone. So our market is still pretty vibrant. The stay order has changed just a little bit. So now we're allowed to show vacant properties only according to and also follow the CDC guidelines. But yeah, it's dynamically changing every day. I think there's things that we do on a day-to-day basis that changes now versus let's do a 30-day goal or even a 6-month or 12-month goal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, that's an amazing business. I mean, you've built, how long have you been in the business?
About 17 years. Yeah.
17 years. See, this is what's encouraging too, is this is why I really want to talk to you, because you've been through some market changes before.
Sure.
You've seen shifts in the market. We've seen, different time periods over 17 years where you've seen highs, lows, and everything in between. Let's talk about so if you were, let's talk to the agent that may be sitting there and trying to figure out, now, what do I do now? What's some of the areas that you're focusing on now, maybe that you didn't in the past, or maybe some areas that you're pivoting to where you can add more value to clients right now?
My biggest shift that we're educating to my staff right now, and what I would absolutely share to anybody brand new to the business or even in the business in the last 3 years, is I think we need to change our mindset from a sales mindset to being a more, task oriented, where you really understand your time frame, your time schedules, focus on that. And then to learn how to be extremely compassionate and to actually act in empathy, right? So if we can change our mindset from sales to compassion and be there for people, the sales will automatically come in the long run. So for the new person, as well as my new agent coming in the door right now, since we can't do typical training that we are used to or accustomed to doing, I let them know, just pull out your cell phone, start at A, and just call every single person in your phone from A to Z. And all you have to do is say hello, and then simply ask, what's going on? How's your family? How's your extended family? Is there anything I can do to be there for you? I want you to know I'm still a part of the community. I'm an essential part of this community, and I just want to help in any way possible. End of conversation. Let them go from there, and just be the focal point of the compassion side of it.
See, I think this is such a healthy shift in our business also.
Absolutely.
I think we've been saying this for years, and those of us that have been building relationships and not transactions are going to be the ones. You're going to be the one that's focusing on those relationships now more than ever. The old way, I think that things are going to go back to transaction driven. Of course, there's going to be a part of the market that will be there. But in reality, in my opinion, now more than ever, that focusing on that relationship, just being a resource, being real, just being a real person is what's really going to drive the market into the future.
And to your point, Jimmy, being real is I think because of this self-isolation, is people get to really see on the social views or through Zoom or through some form of broadcasting what truly people do in their lifestyle. And that's super important for us as realtors now, or your brand, which is you, is to let people in, right? Some of us are still afraid to get on the Zoom or don't want to focus on what we're doing. I'm so bored. I do the same thing every day. But be creative, because that's what people are looking for, is to see the real you. And by self-isolating ourselves, it's really allowing us to let people in that we probably would never let in.
Yeah, it's now more important than ever. And this is what I love about you. And I would encourage people, if they're not sure how they should do it, man, I'm just going to tell you, I don't see how the way that you're doing it is exactly the way I would coach people or encourage people to do it. So if they haven't yet, I would encourage them to go and follow your stuff, because whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, right now, I love the way you're using stories also. So it's almost like we get to go with you during the day. Talk about kind of what that looks like, and it's a mix. It's a great mix. So can you just kind of share what your thoughts are on that and how you
I've been doing that for quite some time. It was really my forced way of doing video, because I've never been a fan of it. It just, as a team leader, I knew I had to start doing it. So that for me, the Facebook story was my way. So I just would do little snippets. 30 seconds is all it allows me to do anyway. So I would just do 30-second shots throughout my day of what I'm doing, where I'm at, who I'm with, and what type of life I'm experiencing that day. I also took it to one part where every single hour on the hour as a realtor, I did that one time. And that was interesting. And you can see all the views and you can see the comments as that's going. So it's live and it's like, wow, people really are interested to see what's going on. But for me, I'm a very big fan of being real and sharing everything about me, positive and negative. But I also like to share my family. And because that's a huge piece of me, right? I do everything I do for them. So I want to share that to everybody that sees that. And I think when you go to start balancing out your social media, you'll always notice that if you talk about the market, you're going to get less hits than if you talk about, a silly thing that your wife did or you did or your kids did. You'll see so many more people interact with that because that's something they honestly want to connect with, versus all the stats that everybody wants to talk about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Especially right now, there's a reason why reality TV is so popular. It's because we literally are obsessed almost with watching and seeing what other people are doing. And, I think when you do it the right way, the way you do it, which in my opinion, the right way is by documenting, when you're out and you're in your car and it's just, hey, just headed out for a listing appointment this afternoon, or, hey, just headed out to show some property, or, hey, this is kind of unique, never done this before, we're doing a virtual open house, whatever it is. And then it's at home with the family, and it's talking about, like, you got a son, your son's got a birthday today. You know what I mean? It's documenting those things. It's talking about that stuff. just letting people know you're a real person. You know, that's that whole know, like, and trust that people want to get to where they know you, they like you, and they trust you ultimately comes after the knowing and the liking. And social media gives us an opportunity that now more than ever. Where are you focusing that? Are you focusing on Facebook? Where are you focusing where you're putting your information out? And how do you distribute it?
Yep, absolutely. Good question. We focus on Facebook mainly and Instagram. So those are our two major components that we put all of our effort into. Like I said, we will probably transition. My goal is to get in there by the end of July. So I've got that in my brain to get into TikTok. We're messing with it right now, getting used to the platform. But yeah, we'll start to release those things. I'm training my kids to play with it. So we can be more interactive. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it all work together, but I'm playing with it. I'm definitely interested in that. When I post is I try to be as spontaneous as possible, right? I don't want to be robotic, and I want to keep it as honest as possible. So I do it, and as I tell my team, for Facebook posts, they're called poopy posts. So if I'm sitting and I'm on the throne and I got nothing better to do, I'm focusing. So that I do those, and then obviously I do my live stuff as I go throughout the day.
That's a unique way. I've never heard anybody do that, but that's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So if you're out there and when you're going through the day on an average day, what does an average day look like for you right now? I mean, I'm talking about exercise. I'm talking about daily schedule. Somebody that's got goals and going to do $60 million this year. What's your average day look like even now in the midst of all this? And what does it look like once this passes? If you can kind of give us an idea.
That's honestly changed, right? So since the stay order went into place a couple of weeks ago, I used to be up at 5 a.m. I'd be in the gym, and then I'd be in the office by 6:30. So now that's changed. So now I get out of bed at 6. So I've actually changed my schedule a little bit. So I get up at 6. I do all of my affirmations. I get through my goal sets through the day. I go through my calendar through the day, and then I'm up at 7 into my office space, and I'm ready to go at 7 o'clock. So I try to stay within that. Now, where I would be in a typical office from 7 to probably 12 o'clock at lunchtime, now I go from 7 to 10, and then I spend that with my kids because they're now getting through the process of school. So I go and hang out with them from 10 to 12. Then I do lunch with them, and then from 12 to 2, I'm doing an outdoor experience with my kids, wherever that may be, where if we're running around, if we're playing in the rain, if we're riding bikes. So I got 2 hours with them, and then I'm going on appointments if I have appointments to go on, or I'm back zoomed in with my staff and getting them dialed in for the rest of the day.
So really your physical activity, you're still getting your physical activity. You've just shifted where it's more setting up football, little drills with your boys or something like that versus going to the actual gym. You're still getting your exercise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So now I do it with them from that 12 to 2 frame, or versus where I would always go at 5 in the morning by myself and just lift weights.
See, man, I just truly believe, Mara, that there's going to be a time when your kids are now 6, me with a son that's 12, and us having everybody home right now, there's going to be a time in a few years that we're going to look back on this time that we get to spend with our kids. You know what I mean? And what an impact that's going to have on them, on us, on our families, on our relationships with each other. I think this is a time really where this is a gift when you start thinking of the time from that standpoint that we would not have taken the time for otherwise,
It's so, that you make that point, Jimmy, is because I went mountain biking with a good friend of mine, past client, a couple of days ago, about 5 days ago. And we went out at 8 o'clock in the morning because that's the time he could go. And I went with him, and while we were mountain biking, I forgive my French, shit you not, there was probably 12 adult men running with their babies, which is unheard of in Charlotte. It's usually the moms that are out there running with their babies at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was such a powerful moment. Like, where both of us, he just turned 50 and we're riding our bikes and we're like, wow, can you believe this? It took the world to shut down so dads can be more involved with their kids. Now it may be falsely there because they're like, gosh, I got to get out of the house, but it's irrelevant. The kids don't know, right? They're just experience that moment. And whether it be for the first time or now it's consistent to them, I hope that that's this part of our new slow down period. It stays that way, because that's awesome. And even for me, it's allowed me to slow down because I'm not in the office till 6 or 7 at night now. I'm at home. I'm eating dinner with my kids, and I'm outside doing all kinds of things just to get them out of the house. So, you know, I appreciate these moments. And I'm not happy that we're doing it the way we're doing it, but I do appreciate them quite a bit. I'm hoping that, like you said, I can adapt that into my business a little bit better.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, now we're in this point and we're still, you know, we're just really starting a lot of this stuff, but what are you refining right now? What parts of your business are you looking at and evaluating and saying, okay, this will pass. Once it does, I want to have some systems, some more detailed systems in place, or I want to have some more training in place. What are you doing right now to kind of prepare, understanding that I know you, like you talked about, your market is still moving at a pretty good pace, but what do you do? Because obviously, I believe with all my heart, we're really building demand right now that when this passes, not if, but when this passes, that it's going to be a spring that's coiled that'll do this number. What are you doing right now?
So right now we're developing new ways to do listing appointments, right? So there's a site, and I'll share with everybody, you may know it already. It's called loom.com.
Yeah, man.
OM.com.
Yeah.
So what that does is allows me to take my CMA and my listing presentation and to visually go through that presentation with my clients online. So it's more interactive versus just sending them a pre-listing package and they kind of read it whenever they feel like reading it. So it's very interactive that way in an email format. So we're tweaking that to make it perfect. So when this does go away, I'll still be able to use that platform instead of just sending them a pre-qual. Now I've got a really good personalized, and it's super cheap, $5 a month. And it makes it more personal. So digital now is a part of my almost everything, if you will, moving forward.
God, so good. Let me, now that you brought this up, I want to share this with you. Man, this is funny. You and I have never talked about this, but I did the same thing. So when I shifted out of sales, my last quarter of having my team and working was the last quarter of 2018. And I made a commitment. I wanted to do it before I rolled it out to the team, where I was going to take past clients and I was going to do unsolicited video CMAs. I used Loom and I also used BombBomb. And so same thing you're talking about. And I used Google Earth where it would come in and it would kind of just slowly go down onto the property, you know? So it looked like I was like some kind of high-tech redneck, you know what I mean? But I mean, I was, you know, but it made me look a lot smarter than I was. And then I just had the comps there. And I just went through and said, hey, been a little while. I wanted to give you an updated idea of where your valuation is right now. Even if you're not interested in selling now, it's a good place to have a point where you know where the value is now, so that if you decide in the future you'll have this. I just decided I was going to do one a day that I worked. So that last quarter I did 72 of those. I worked 72 days that last quarter with Christmas and Thanksgiving, all those things, you know. And so when I shifted in May, directly from those videos, those 72 videos, I listed $11.1 million and sold $9.2 million from those CMAs. When I went back and checked the value of those, it was literally, now my average sales price is, you know, on the coast is pretty strong, but the average one that I did out of those 72 in gross commission, it was worth $3,600 every one I did. So I think right now is a critical time where we can do these things for past clients maybe we haven't talked to, that you just send them that. And, you know, it takes literally, especially if you've got them in neighborhoods where there's a lot of a similar thing, this is a great way to add value to people right now. And like you say, you're refining that when we get through this, now you've got a system in place and an understanding where you've planted seeds that, as you know, I mean, I had one of the people that I did this for in December 12th of 2018. I sent it to him then. I haven't been in sales. I've been in my position of kind of managing agents and helping with agents and training. And all of a sudden I get a call back 3 weeks ago from that. And we listed the house and we sold, and they had 5 offers and sold it for cash in 2 days. Wow. And it was all because of what I did 2 years ago. So the shelf life on this, instead of just sending them a mailer with a hard copy of it that gets thrown in the trash, they went back and looked at this a year and a half later and said, where are we now compared to that? So I'm with you, man. I think the way that our business model is shifting right now, and the people that assess and adapt right now and move forward with it, those are the ones that are not just going to have better benefits now, but it's going to help them be more efficient going forward. Anything else y'all are doing right now? I mean, that's tremendous. Anything else y'all are doing right now besides that?
Yeah, well, that's number one. Number two, for us shifting forward, we used to do, we can't door knock now, but now I think we're going to really stay focused on the compassionate side versus, you know, making it into a sale transactions aspect, we're really going to change and transition. Now, all of our training moving forward is going to be more of compassion and just really talking to people and being there for people. I think where we've failed, now knowing what we know now with the coronavirus, where I can see my failures was not just calling my referrals when my clock tells me to call them and say hi,
Right.
but it's more to be there for them throughout throughout the month on a randomness, a random dial, just being more apt to making the calls. So in my calls, where even though my sphere and my past clients are part of my calls, is actually doing it not to, oh, do you know anybody that you can refer me to, but
Yeah.
see if I can help them in any way, if I can connect them in any way, because we've got our hands in so many different things and we can connect people in so many different ways. So it's just being a connector and a resource for them truly, and then letting that play itself out.
What about like direct mail, advertising, any of the systems you were doing before, anything you're doing different right now?
Right. So right now we've increased all of our print. So we've gone away from all of our anything else in that. So all of our EDDM and all of our farming, instead of going twice a month, we've moved that to 4 times a month. So what we're trying to do is get our face out there, our brand out there, and pushing all of our markets and all of our farm markets, so that it's more consistent. All of the branding has nothing to do with comps anymore. It's more about recipes and plays and areas that you can go and do things and workouts. And we're kind of changing up our branding to be more creative, if you will, versus real estate branding. Like our branding is there, but all of the tips that we're putting into that into the ads is more of just things people can do with their family and things that you can do one-on-ones in certain areas of Charlotte pockets.
See, that's the reason why you do the business you do, in my opinion, is because while everybody else is retreating, you're leaning in. And I know I was on a call, and Bob Watson from Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, from the brand, he mentioned that there was a study done that right now, because people are home, instead of sitting at the garbage can and ripping and throwing away, they're actually reading their mail. They're actually reading the stuff we're sending out more than ever. And we're getting a bigger response right now in the middle of this than we were before. Some of the things that we've done too, just to kind of highlight on that, is some of the branding would be something along the lines of, here are 10 restaurants that are still open for delivery or for pickup in the area, as well as know that we're here and still doing business if we can help in any way. It's almost like a subtle kind of, just it's a subliminal, but it's giving them something of value, or we started doing on social media. We're doing where we're highlighting a hero of the day. So in other words, we're going and we're saying, okay, well, this company or this restaurant is selling gift cards at a discounted rate. Every bit of the money that comes from those is going to their employees. Go support that business because they're supporting their employees. Here's a free medical clinic that is staying open through this and has stepped up. Those type of things. We're just trying to highlight some of the heroes in the area. And I think those are those types of things right now, like you're talking about with the compassion of being that resource that is really going to benefit our community. It's going to benefit, and then ultimately, as we know, it's going to at some point this thing is you get back what you put out, and so that's exciting to hear. What about anything else that y'all have increased or decreased of what you were doing before right now, besides your direct mail?
Yeah, so the increase is going to go into print. The decrease we've taken back on a lot of our lead, because we're a lead generation team, right? Mm-hmm. So what we've done is taken our budget off of, we have a pretty intense budget on our Boomtown. So we pulled back from that. We pulled back from our Zillow. We're dumping everything into print, and we'll probably go through the end of Q3 in print, and then dump back into and double down into the our online portals. And then the other thing is we're just right now just trying to be more creative on video, how we're going to do video, and using some of that budget to add in a videographer or somebody that can help us really scale the silliness that I've been doing with it, right, and make it into a professional presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this too, we've seen this where we've got a lot of college students that are home from college that have video, you know what I mean, that have some video talent. We've got a lot of people that high schoolers that were doing the videography for the school daily show or whatever, that have the ability to, to do some video for you and to do that for the experience. out there. And so, you know, to kind of bounce back on what you were talking about, your thought process on scaling back on your online leads right now and then scaling back in. What's the thought process on that?
Yeah, so it went a couple ways. Maybe what I do is I have 4 mentors that I talk to, and they all run large teams, and they're all with different firms, so they're not all Berkshire. And what I mean by that is I like to see what everybody's doing in different markets, and they're definitely not all in Charlotte. And what I get from them, like 2 out of the 4 are doubling down on all of their lead gen right now. So instead of 20 grand a month, they're going to 40 or 60,000. They're going to take what everybody's dropping off. And then on the other side, the other 2 guys that I decided to go with is they're dumping all their money in print because, like you said, everybody's at home. So while people are at home, there's 2 things that go on. It's either print or email. So get inside of people while they're inside their homes. Lead generation is a little tough right now because in certain areas, we can't really take that buyer somewhere. So do we fill the funnel and keep filling the funnel and then take that over that waterfall when it comes down after we're allowed back into our normal lifestyle? I'd rather just go through the print side of it, be the name, be the brand, be the face that they're used to seeing. Because with me, with 12 agents and majority of them are women, it's getting them out there and getting that brand out there more so, not just the Mitchell team, but our faces as the community faces. And then also trying to get into the video so people can see our video, our bomb videos inside of the emails that we're sending. So now it's really all these interactions that will hopefully lead back into when the leads start going back. So once we go back into work, we'll just flip back into bringing online leads so we can actually start opening more doors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. You know, we're kind of unique. As a company, we provide Boomtown for all of our agents. So we're really fine-tuning our CRM portion of it right now, and making sure utilizing BombBomb with some integrated things that we're doing there, staying in contact and putting some scripting together that is more related to how can we be of service to that group, which is mostly buyers, you know, except for the sellers and the past clients we've set up in there. And I agree with you. I mean, I think this is a unique time to really add some value, especially through print. You're focusing on sellers, which is huge and right now. So listen, this has been great, man. I want to just kind of, if you don't mind, how can people get in touch with you if they have questions about the market or they have somebody refer to Charlotte or anything along those lines? Yeah,
appreciate that. Well, all of our social media, we're at Mario Mitchell Team for Facebook or Instagram, and Mitchell's with 2 L's. And then, you know, you can call me directly. I'm wide open, 704-284-8057. That's probably the easiest way to get me. Text me, email me at mario.mitchell@bhhscarolinas with an S.com.
It's awesome. Hey, Mario, before we go, what are you excited about right now? What are you excited about right now?
I'm excited. I'm very excited about where we are in the market. Though it's very challenging, I'm excited about what it's going to turn for us. You know, I've added 3 new agents in the last week that are super great pieces that I probably wouldn't have had if we didn't have slowed down like this. And I'm excited that, you know, it's going to be slow in May. I honestly know that. I can see my numbers right now as I look at my sales board. May is going to be weird, but June and July is going to be, to me, it's going to be like 2005. So I'm just super excited about that. I'm going to absorb May as much as I can with my family and my friends that I'm allowed to see right now, but and my kids, more importantly. And I'm just going to eat it up, man. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm going to be able to learn some really good video tools like you're doing right now and take the time to put the effort in there instead of being so, you know, robotic in my past goals. And I'm glad the shift is there. So it's allowed me to pivot my goal setting to 30-day goals versus sitting down for 6 months and 12-month goals. And that's what I'm super excited about. I'm not going to be excited about traveling because I think it's going to be a flush of people going everywhere. But we will be excited to get out there and get open and finally get in front of some folks again.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I appreciate your openness for all the agents. I know there's going to be some benefit to that. Appreciate, man, I appreciate your friendship, man. I'm really enjoying getting to spend some time with you, getting to know you better. Listen, just thanks for everything. I mean, listen, what I love about top producing agents and especially team leaders is is how open you are to share and understand that we're all better together. So
Hey, man.
thanks, Mario. Appreciate everything, man. Take care. Let us know if there's anything we can do. And guys, if y'all need anything, we'll have the contact information below. Also, just reach out to Mario. He's a great resource to have in the Charlotte area.
Just keep me a house in Destin before
Come on with it. Come on, see us. I know.
All right. Good talking. See ya.
Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.